manager will give you some more details on what we have accomplished and our strategies to move forward. And an apology for it's a pollen knife and my voice just is not working.
Has addressed the reliability of the elevators, installed package lockers at residents' request, implemented a new parking plan, signed a new laundry contract, cleaned and fixed the trash chutes, and stabilized the electric power in the building, in addition to completing 586 work orders as of earlier this week. Utility bills have been a major point of concern for the residents. In response to residents' questions, we conducted a full audit and found very limited minor errors, of which have now been fixed, with the correct amounts credited back to residents' individual accounts. We discovered the problem seems to be confusion about how to read the bills. To address the confusion, we are starting an education campaign to explain to residents and resident advocates how to interpret the bills. We have also begun to develop a security plan through conversations with residents and the Arlington County Police. Through updated signage and letters to residents, we reminded everyone that the Serrano is a non-smoking building. The HVAC system is one of our top priorities. The challenge is that the system is old. To be frank, the units do not look good. Deterioration is visible on the valves, insulation, and drain pans. To evaluate the system's condition, we asked an indoor air expert to report on the status of the convectors.
Some of our efforts to date include monthly resident meetings, beefing up our on-site resident services team, as Walter mentioned, and making sure all of our communications are consistently in English and Spanish. Resident services are helping to improve the quality of life for residents at the Serrano. Their efforts include, as Walter mentioned, we've helped 75 households access more than $200,000 in rent relief since July, and there's another $100,000 pending that we're confident will come through.
Hello, I'm known as Elder Julio Basuto from Solid Rock SDA Church. I'm a father of three, simultaneous interpreter, small business owner, and resident and community advocate at Serrano Apartments. I started my work with Serrano after hearing dozens of residents complain about the terrible conditions at Serrano in fall 2019. Under the leadership of community advocate Janet Valenzuela, we, along with Voice, began to organize tenants to fight for their rights and livable conditions. While advocating for tenants, I experienced my own maintenance nightmare when AHC delayed repairing leaking AC convectors for months in my apartment. The wood floor split and swelled, white and black powder was exposed, and attempting for months to get maintenance to fix this emergency, I finally decided to inspect the convectors myself. What I found was horrifying. Black and white mold hills, rusty pipes flaking, mold-filled insulation, and holes leading to the wall everywhere. That's where residents come in. It took months of advocating for maintenance to attempt to fix this, and when they finally did finish the work, it was incomplete, and the maintenance manager entered my door without permission, removed the plastic wrapping from the fixed floor and convectors while my children were inside. A few minutes later, I ended up in urgent care because of dizziness, disorientation, chest and throat burning from asphyxia due to multiple chemicals being released into the air into my living room. I was out of my apartment for repair for 7 weeks. AHC took little to no responsibility and reimbursed me for 3 weeks of the 7. Another resident downstairs had bubbling mold for months over her children's bedroom, being ignored. AHC has widespread mice infestation before and after Drucker and Folk, dirty in-unit convectors, and system stacks spewing black dust, white dust into units. Mold that simply has been painted over if addressed at all. Broken appliances, disrespect by management. Many of these have persisted for months, in some cases years. Management has simply ignored the problems. Because residents organized and got community support through Voice, the county has started paying attention and insisting on improvements. Some items have improved, but serious problems persist, remain with mice infestation, aging building systems, security, unclear and sometimes wrong utility billing. All of the positive changes listed by AHC today are a result of our advocacy for months with blood, sweat, and tears, not good faith. Since we started organizing, we've heard from residents in other properties that similar problems exist there. Residents still have had to pay rent while residing in unsafe, unlivable conditions. We will seek legal recourse for all of our tenants to be reimbursed. Surely this is not the way we in Arlington want our neighbors to live. My son shouldn't have to be finding a mouse in his bed as he did recently. My neighbors shouldn't have to live with the problems that they have lived with for years, for months. Serrano is a sick building. It needs to be gutted, and the housing needs to be in reverse. The county needs to ensure that problems at the Serrano are resolved now, and to make sure that residents in other county subsidized properties have safe and healthy living conditions too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If I could just ask you a real quick question, and then if you can remain on the meeting, for our discussion. For the 7 weeks that you were displaced, do you mind if I ask, were you relocated within the Serrano?
No, sir.
So were you then left on your own to find housing?
I was left on my own with my 3 children.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you for asking for that detail. It's important.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering. It's kind of a personal question, so thank you. Please remain on the call, though. I'm going to move to our next speaker,